It's been what, like 10 years since I've done an actual EDC pouch review, and the one I have in front of me might be the very best one yet at its price point. I'll cover everything about this new EDC pouch in this video, but for now, sit back, relax, and let's get it. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Everyday Minimalist, and today I get to finally reveal a project that I've been working on for what feels like an eternity now. The intro sequence and the B-roll sequence probably gave it away, but I finally designed my very own pouch. This is the Olympus in collaboration with RZE watches. Now, if you've visited my channel before, then you'll probably know that I review a bunch of different EDC pouches, sling bags, and backpacks. In my opinion, if I can organize all of my EDC gear and have it super accessible, laid out so that I can easily find that specific tool that I need, that just makes my carry so much easier. Now, I designed the Olympus to be a perfect companion to your sling bag or your backpack. Of course, you could probably just carry it like this, but it's made to just slot into your sling bag or your backpack and pretty much have all of your EDC gear all in one place. A lot of people are like, hey Brandon, how do you carry your EDC pouches? And it's typically within that sling bag or a backpack. Of course, I'll have my primary EDC, which would be like my knife, for example, or my wallet keys. Those usually just go in the pockets. But when it comes to other EDC tools like pens, if we're talking about a Leatherman, pocket art, bottle openers, all that stuff usually stays inside the pouch. Now, before we dive deeper into the Olympus and all of its details, I want to let you guys know that these bad boys are going to be dropping this Saturday on October 27th at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. These will be available on RZE's website, which I will leave a link in the description below, and they're coming in at $50. Now, I wanted to keep the pouch lower in price because we all know there's a bunch of pouches out there that exceed that, $70 to $100 or even $150 price point. So at the very beginning when I was designing this, I wanted that $50 price point so that way it's a lot more accessible to you guys. Anyways, I don't want to waste more of your time, so let's just dive right into the Olympus, starting off with the dimensions. First off, we're looking at about 7 inches in total length, 4.5 inches in total width, and anywhere in between 1.5 to 2 inches in total height. Keep in mind this is loaded to the max, and I'll go through all the details here in just a second. Next up, let's talk about the ginormous loop field. I wanted to have a huge loop field because I know a lot of you guys are into collecting Ranger eyes and patches, and if you're like me, I love customizing my pouches. If you guys watched my original review on the RZE black comb, you'll notice that there's tarpaulin here on the top and the bottom sides, and I just felt like that was taking away from the real estate that you have on the front of the pouch. So on the Olympus, there is a giant loop field that you can just customize it to your heart's content. Now on the exterior of the pouch, this is made with 1260D ballistic nylon, which makes it very premium feeling. We also added some padding inside the pouch, so that way if you drop your pouch somewhere like on concrete, for example, your expensive gear is still protected. That doesn't add in a ton of thickness, but it does kind of make it feel a little bit more of like a brick than a floppy piece of fabric. The next thing I wanted to highlight is the zipper. This is a YKK number 10 thick ass zipper, and it just makes it so easy to open and close. On top of that, if you guys are into customizing your paracords, this is going to be extremely easy to feed the paracord through, and you can pretty much customize it even more. And for example, this paracord, this black and yellow one, is actually an RZE exclusive and will come with every single pouch, but I did go ahead and add in the RZE crown bead. These are also available on the website if you like this aesthetic. I just wanted to show that you guys can easily customize these pouches. Now on the back of the pouch is a YKK number 8 zipper, and this is still going to be thicker than your standard pouches out there. A lot of companies will use YKK number 5 zippers, but we still wanted to enlarge it just a tad, and this just makes it even more effortless to open up this rear pocket. Now before we get inside the pouch, let's do a few size comparisons. First off, we have the notorious EDC AGP or All Good pouch. We're looking at about 1/4 of an inch longer in total length. In terms of width, we're very similar, and then in terms of the height, we're very similar. So if you guys are used to the size of the AGP, going up to the Olympus is not going to be a huge massive change. It is a little bit bigger, but I'll show you guys why. Next up, we have the RZE black comb. This is their very first pouch design, and the reason why I chose to go with RZE on this collaboration. The black comb I deemed probably the best EDC pouch of 2024, but I think the Olympus is going to be even better than that. Now the black comb is pretty much the same in total length. The width is going to be the same, but where it's really different is going to be be the height, or I guess thickness. On the Olympus, it's gonna be quite a bit thicker to just kind of accommodate bigger EDC gear. Now, there are reasons why I went with the thicker pouch, but I'll get into that here in just a second. Next up, we have the Garage Built Gear Mighty Pouch Plus, and this is gonna be very similar in total width, and then of course the Olympus is gonna be quite a bit longer in terms of length. And in terms of thickness, this is where the Mighty Pouch Plus kind of had some gripes in my opinion. You can only fit a few pieces of gear in here and then it's pretty much maxed out, and when it is maxed out, it just kind of bulges a ton. You'll notice on the Olympus, it just feels more of like a brick instead of a bulging pouch in that sense. Lastly, we have the Datacrew What a Slider and the What a Junior. Of course, the biggest difference on these two are gonna be the thickness. And if we're comparing the thickness between these three, it kind of falls right in the middle with the Olympus. The What a Slider was just a little bit too thick for me, and then the What a Junior just wasn't thick enough. So when I was designing the Olympus, I just wanted that sweet spot where it can just fit all of my gear inside here and just have it completely loaded out. Okay, let's move inside the pouch and show you guys how I have my Olympus loaded out. First thing is gonna be my hank. I pretty much just use this as a panel to prevent scratching between my pieces of gear inside the pouch. Now, in terms of inside the pouch, we did go with a 200D honeycomb recycled PET nylon lining. We chose this material because it can stand the test of time. Of course, if you guys are gonna be constantly taking your gear out and putting it back in different types of gear, we wanna make sure that this thing can stand the test of time. Let's talk about the layout of this pouch, and that's kind of what sets it apart from the rest and the competition. For example, here is the notorious EDC AGP, and it just kind of falls short in my opinion. You can only fit specific gear within these, I guess, elastic panels, and I had trouble just retaining EDC gear. So I wanted to fit a full-size pen with a clicker on it inside the AGP, but the problem is when you go to close the pouch, the zipper will actually scratch the pen itself. And you guys know me, I like expensive gear. So I find myself carrying more mini pens in that sense, and I personally like writing with a full-size pen. So to solve that, what we did is basically elongated that specific portion of the pouch, just a tiny little bit. But in this case, we have a bunch of different slots on the left-hand side where there's a dedicated spot for your pen, and if it even has a clicker, you still have additional space. So that way, when you go to zip up your pouch, it's not scratching any parts of your collectible pen or whatever you're carrying. Now, you'll notice that the only Everyday Minimalist branding that's inside this pouch or on this pouch, as a matter of fact, is gonna be this tag. I wanted to keep it super minimal and not very intrusive. The only other branding we have is this RZE PVC patch that is stitched in, and it's actually pretty small, so it's not very intrusive. The next slot I wanna talk about is going to be this slot right here on the far left hand side, and this is specifically designed to fit a full-size Leatherman. I've got a Leatherman Arc right here. If you have a free P4, a Leatherman Wave, basically any Leatherman that's out there, that's what this slot is made for. Of course, if I wanted to slot in my flashlight here, that's no problem as well, or any other EDC gear. And here's another example, a butterfly knife. This thing is absolutely huge. They're also called balisong, so don't roast me in the comments, but that will fit within that elastic loop as well, which I don't think there's any other EDC pouch that will fit a full-size balisong inside the pouch itself. So this is just a raw example. In terms of the center elastic loop, I just have my tactile turn Apollo flashlight there. I guess the next key feature is going to be this little pocket here. This just prevents things from clashing around inside the pouch if you don't plan to carry a hank. It also helps retain all the tools inside this panel. Now, if you want to stash your cash or whatever, you can also put things inside this pocket on the backhand side. Moving on to the right-hand side, and this is where all the mesh pockets are involved. I kind of got an idea from the AGP because I do like these elastic loops, but I didn't like the fact that you couldn't really organize and gear would just kind of flop around in that case. So on the Olympus, we decided to go with a really nice mesh panel. Again, this will protect your EDC gear unless it's protruding like that. That's why I carry the hank. But there are 4 different slots where you can throw in other gear, such as an EDC wrench. If you're into that type of thing, you can easily fit that in there. Now, the second mesh pocket down is actually designed to fit a curator. I did that on purpose because I have my curators and I absolutely love carrying them. However, all of my pouches literally won't fit a curator and have it secure, snug, protected, whatever you want to call it. Here's an example inside the AGP. The curator will just flop around, for example. We'll take the Mighty Pouch Plus, for example, and that's not going to fit because these pockets aren't wide enough. So on the Olympus, we made a pouch that's designed for pocket art. Whether it's the curator or a notorious EDC beer bomb, it's literally made for pocket art. Of course, you can probably fit more things and items inside that specific pocket, but it's a little bit wider wider so that way my curator is protected. If you guys don't know what a curator is, look into it. These things are insane. They're made by my buddy Jamie over at JRW. They also have flex variants, so just keep that in mind. Now the mesh pocket below that is just holding my Pixel Company Foo Bar. This thing is pretty sweet. It's a bottle opener slash fidget. If you want to carry fidget toys slash tools, you can easily fit that in there. Here's another frame of reference. You can also fit a knife in there if you wanted, if it's short enough in that sense. This is the Urban EDC Trailhawk, and it's more of a secondary knife, and this will just slot right into this pocket. Now the very last pocket is probably the smallest one in total width, but it's perfect for mini pry bars like this Vero Fulcrum. It's just great. It fits in there, no problem. The zipper isn't gonna hit this pry bar when it goes to close. There's plenty of spacing there, and that's kind of what I designed this after, is the Vero Fulcrum or the Glow Rhino Tritium pry bar. That's pretty much everything I wanted to cover on the interior of the pouch. Let's go ahead and move back onto the exterior. A couple other things that I did to this pouch to make it a little bit more unique is the fact that it does have an elastic loop here, so that way the pouch can actually stretch. Now it can't overstretch because the interior does also have that 200D nylon liner here to kind of help it retain its shape, but the ultimate goal with this pouch is to make it feel like a brick that you can just slide into your backpack or sling bag. Lastly, the backside pocket is made to just carry whatever you want. It could be cash, it could be your credit cards. If you carry punch cards for like smoothies or like sushi punch cards, you can literally just throw them in here. And for me personally, I'm actually carrying my Leatherman bit set that literally just slides in there, fits in there, no problem. But there you guys have it, my very first pouch design, the Olympus. I hope when you guys get this in your hands that you absolutely love it like I do. And of course, if you do plan on getting it, let me know in the comment section below. Again, the Olympus is going to be dropping on October 27th at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. One last thing I wanted to mention before you guys go is the RZE Fortitude Workbench Edition. This is an absolutely gorgeous blacked out monochrome watch, and RZE is limiting production to 50 of these total. If you decide that you want a new watch that's an automatic GMT with a date window and a really dope crown that has an accent when you go to adjust the time, the Olympus is going to come with every single purchase of the Fortitude Workbench Edition. If you already own a Fortitude Workbench Edition, make sure that you reach out to RZE because they will be sending you an Olympus pouch for free. Aside from that, if you made it this far, throw me a thumbs up, and I guess we'll have to catch you on the next one. Peace out.